Yeah.
Yeah, they emptied the pool halfway out. Yeah, I wonder what is it still going on?
I don't think so. But the water's going.
It's over here where the basket out.
Yeah. I'm surprised we didn't have broken glass. Took about a foot of water, more than a foot of water out of the pool. Probably better go turn the motor off, because we're going to put some water in it. Big sucker.
The prophet Jesus said that in the end times there would be all kinds of natural disturbances. And he said that they would increase in frequency and intensity, like the birth pangs of a woman when her child is about to be born. That's the key to the meaning and significance of these events.
To the dazzling achievements of 20th century technology, we are constantly reminded of how helpless and puny man is before the forces of nature. If seismic and meteorologic conditions were stable, we could probably find a way to cope with them. But the number of earthquakes, measuring over 7 on the Richter scale, have increased in each of the last 5 years. Recent earthquakes in Romania, Italy, China, the Philippines, and Guatemala have cost over 1 million lives.
Magnitude 7.8 quake rattled the island less than an hour ago. There are no immediate reports of damage or injuries at this time, but let's get more on the quake now. Dr. Kurt Frankel is
where a magnitude 8.8 quake hit about 90 minutes ago off Chile's coast. Yes, 8.8 quake, a very strong earthquake there this morning. There are power blackouts, we're told, reported in Santiago and in Concepcion, the largest city closest to the epicenter of this quake. A tsunami warning has
also rocked this impoverished Caribbean nation late this afternoon. The 7.0 quake was centered roughly 10 miles from the capital city, Port-au-Prince, and there are reports of at least one strong 5.9 aftershock. Early reports are that a hospital may have collapsed and that screaming was heard from the scene. Haiti is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, a place where infrastructure is incredibly weak, and a disaster of this magnitude could well be an unfolding...
A Fox News alert, a very powerful earthquake striking just a short time ago off the coast of India. The 7.7 quake is a little more than 100 miles west of Misha. That's on the Nicobar Islands. We are getting word that tsunami watches have now been issued for parts of the Indian Ocean. Now, this area is very close to Sri Lanka. You may recall that country saw major devastation from the massive tsunami back in 2004. Now, here's what we know. India, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Thailand, Malaysia are all being warned of a potential...
hit southern Greece. People went fleeing out of buildings in the 6.5 quake. It was felt as far away as Athens and Cairo, Egypt. The U.S. Geological Survey says the quake measured 6.7. A similar magnitude quake in 2006 caused minor damage to homes and buildings in the southern part of the country. There are no reports of injuries or serious damage from this quake yet. Officials warn that aftershocks are possible, and Greek television is warning people near the epicenter to stay away from buildings. The person who was in this bed when a 5.3 earthquake hit England doesn't think the quake damage is minor. A chimney fell through the roof of this house.
When my nephew got injured, they heard a rumbling, and then the chimney fell through straight onto him in bed. Broken pelvis, doing an operation sometime this morning.
The quake hit around 1 in the morning, about 125 miles north of London. It is the largest quake to hit Britain in more than 2 decades.
This was the scene in northeastern Nevada as a 6.0 earthquake struck early Thursday morning.
All of a sudden the bed is shaking. I mean, it's not just rolling back and forth. It is shaking, violently shaking.
Take a look at this surveillance video from inside a convenience store in the community. The walls shake, the lights go off, and the people inside rush to a safer place. Deputies have been going
since that massive 8.8 earthquake in Chile triggered a tsunami warning across the Pacific. Since then, there have been 4 significant quakes in other parts of the world. Local scientists say they are likely related. KITV4's Jill Kuramoto tells us there's expectation an even stronger quake is on the way.
There's been a lot of shaking going on. 8.8 in Chile, 7.0 in Japan, 6.4 in Taiwan, 6.5 in Sumatra. Geophysicist with the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center, Dr. Gerard Fryer, says large earthquakes tend to cluster, with the last cluster ending in 1964 with the Alaskan quake.
And now we've had 2004, which was 9.1, and 2005, which was 8.8, and now 2010, which is 8.8. I'm sort of waiting for the other shoe to drop. You know, I wouldn't be at all surprised if within a year or so we get another magnitude 9.
Fryer says the significant quakes this week are likely a result of Chile's earthquake, which has been recorded as the world's 5th strongest since 1900.
And plate tectonics is just working all the time. Constantly the plates are grinding together all the time, and the strain is accumulating and accumulating and accumulating. And then you give it a big wham. It's not surprising if there are just little adjustments all around the edges of the plates.
The U.S. Geological Survey expects 17 major earthquakes, those between 7.0 and 7.9, and one great quake, 8.0 and higher, will affect the world in any given year. Fryer calls the recent spate of earthquakes unusual. So does that mean the Earth is angry?
We've been following that breaking news, an earthquake in northern Illinois, a 4.3 magnitude quake. And actually, back here in the newsroom, we've been fielding several phone calls from people in this area and receiving emails as well from people in southeast Wisconsin who are telling us that they did, in fact, feel this earthquake earlier today. I have a few of those emails. One person from Kenosha says that it made their eyes open wide, got them out of bed actually this morning. Another person in Greendale describes the sensation and the feeling and the sound as a growl. At first they thought maybe it was a snowplow, but then realized this was an earthquake.
It's the same story with tornadoes, floods, and our changing climate. As we contemplate nature's growing offensive, the question arises, is there some significance to all this? Some deeper meaning? Could these be the birth pangs the prophet spoke of?
In Luke chapter 21, there are clear predictions about disturbances in space that will affect our atmosphere and change our weather patterns. It predicts that these disturbances will be so overwhelming that men's hearts will fail them for fear because of what is coming upon our world.
And there will be signs in sun and moon and stars, and upon the earth distress of nations in perplexity at the roaring of the sea and the waves. For the powers of the heavens will be shaken.